One thing I cannot stand is a man who clings, a guy who just doesn't seem to have any kind of life outside of his relationship. And I mean, I'm all for people making their partners important in their life, don't get me wrong, but there's a very big difference between someone being important to you and you just being just way over the top with this, just like ridiculous levels with your, the amount of attention that you give to that person. I think a lot of women get confused. You think when a dude is that focused on you, that that is a good thing, and it is not. To the point of, excuse me, where a guy is, somewhat obsessed with you. He lets go of his friends if he even had any. He can't even work right because he's too busy texting and calling you to see what you're doing. He wants to know everywhere you go. He wants to know everything you do. And you feel like you're on probation, having to report to your PO or something. It's a very interesting dynamic, and I want to run through some of the ways that you can tell if a guy is going to be, or if his behavior actually is already showing that he is insecure, needy, clingy, or dependent, because all of those have the potential to put you into an abusive relationship type situation. One thing that the player types and the ones these guys that call pickup artists did get right is that women like a puzzle. They like a little bit of a mystery. They like to figure things out and to, not just a slight bit of frustration keeps the relationship interesting for most women. So if you have a guy, you come in and the dude is just like too available, he's too interested, he calls too much, he texts too much, he wants to stay on the phone too long, all that kind of stuff, it causes problems in the relationship. And instead of the woman developing romantic longings for him, she is drowned in his energy to the point where she just becomes repulsed and doesn't want anything to do with him. And the guys don't understand that. They're like, well, I was so nice to her. I did everything for her. I gave her everything. Well, I mean, that might be okay if you're married to the woman, but we don't talk about married people on this channel. We talk about single people dating. I have to keep reminding folks that because they come and be with, well, my wife this and my husband that. It's like, who gives a fuck? Good for you. You married. Get your ass to another channel because there's nothing here for you. But in this situation, the guys just come on too strong. And the same kind of advice that women get, not to quote, scare him away, dudes, you do the same thing. I mean, a woman, she got to build up some kind of level of trust in who you are and what you are, and if you're sincere. And when you coming on like gangbusters and, trying to get all up in her mix and all controlling and demanding and shit, that causes some severe problems. So let's talk about what some of those things are. What kind of behaviors do guys exhibit when they are the needy, insecure, clingy types? One thing they do, and I have like interesting dating experiences with each one of these examples I'm going to give you. I either personally dated the guy or one of my really good friends did, and I got to see the action firsthand. So either way, it's firsthand experience that I'm reporting to you. Okay. It was about this time of year, some years ago, because it's, hot time for corporate Christmas parties coming up. And this guy wanted me to go to his corporate Christmas party with him. Now, the dude was not that attractive. He was kind of overweight. Very smart, though. Really nice guy. But, I was like not, repulsed by him or anything. We always had nice conversation. But that didn't mean that I wanted him to be like my man or nothing. So he invites me to his company Christmas party. So we go, and it's like all these white folks. And he just was like, now I didn't really know this man that well, and we were not in a relationship. I just agreed to go to the party with him. You know what I mean? I think we had gone to play pool once before that or something. And so he's like, want to go in the room holding my hand and, putting his arm all around me. And like follow me around the room. I'm trying to like socialize and meet people and talk to people and stuff. And he just like all up on me, like, like I was going to give my number out to somebody or something. It was really weird. So he was very insecure about the situation. And it seemed like he thought that, that I was going to be like, show some kind of disloyalty or something to him. It was really odd. But one of the points I want to make is that these guys are very insecure. They really do focus um, on accusing you of cheating, accusing you of being in some way disloyal to them, stabbing them in the back, throwing them under the bus, all those kind of terminologies. They don't feel like, that you're for real. So they're always questioning your your commitment to the relationship. Oh, you don't love me. Because if you love me, you would do such and such a. Well, that's not how people who love each other behave. So it's like you get slowly kind of manipulated into doing things his way and seeing the world through his lens, and then you end up with this walking on eggshells thing, because you always want to make sure that he approves of your behavior so that he won't feel insecure. So you doing all kind of stuff to make sure that he feels secure in what you do, where you go, what you wear, the friends you have, everything. Okay, that's one aspect. Another point that they do is they criticize. So, part of what I just described is also encompassed in this one, where say I don't know, you have a group of friends, and this happened to me. So I used to have a group of friends that I ran around with, and when I was still in my clubbing days, and one of them was my cousin. And this guy was going out with, I didn't tell him that it was my cousin. And she's kind of a flashy dresser. And, she's got a boom, bam, boom kind of body. Soon as he sees her, he says, oh, who is that? Who is that hoe? Who's that whole friend you got there? You don't need to be hanging around with her. And I never did tell him that was my cousin. I just said, oh, so now my friends are hoes? And he was like, well, yeah, look at them, blah, blah, blah. You don't need to be going to the club with them. I don't know why you need to go to the club anyway. You in a relationship. You need to just stay home with me. I'm thinking, nigga, this is supposed to be about the last time you see me. So I told him, well, I am going out with my whole friends. You don't have to like it, but, it's too bad because you ain't my daddy. And I went out and had a good time and never saw his ass again, because you're not going to control me, and you're not going to sit there and make negative judgments about people that I care about and think you're going to put me in that trick bag where I'm listening to you more than I'm listening to myself, because he felt insecure about 3 or 4 beautiful women going out by themselves and what we might run into. That's how he was showing it, instead of saying, well, just being straightforward, I trust you, but, if anything funky jumps off, call me or something like that, so provide some reassurance, let me know how he's feeling, but you don't get into cussing my friends out, calling them names and putting them down to try to control me. You see what I mean? And that's what he was doing. And a lot of them will do that. That's how they express their insecurity about other men, other situations, but it's usually just a way to try to control what you do. Another one another way that they display their insecurity, and I had a friend like this. Oh my God. It's like nobody in the world knew more, had better, had bigger than him. Okay, in any kind of conversation. I mean, you could talk about making popcorn. Okay, you got some microwave popcorn. Oh, well, this popcorn is good, but the kind I get is better, and it has real European butter, and it's this. I mean, it could be anything. I just made that up, but you know what I mean. They're gonna always put down what somebody else does, or what somebody else accomplishes, what somebody else wears, what somebody else owns. His has always got to be better. His, has always got to be bigger. If somebody went hunting and they got a deer, well, the deer that he caught 10 years ago when he was only 5 was twice that big. That's how these dudes roll. They always want to magnify and glorify themselves as they put other people down. This also happens when they talk about women. They'll do the same thing where they say how men are supposed to be so superior. Well, if you were really superior and you really believe that, there would be no reason for you to be bragging and, just blowing yourself up like that and trying to promote yourself. You're your biggest marketer. You don't need to do all that. Because, see, men who are confident don't do, they let their shit, you just see it for yourself. They may never tell you what they have. They never mention their labels. I know people, living in a rented apartment or living in their mother's basement some damn where, but every time they step out the door, they clean as a clap to dressed in head to toe with somebody else's name on it. That's another aspect of very insecure people. They always are concerned about what other people think about them. They will go to great efforts to dress a certain way, to drive a certain type of car, to, whatever. I mean, to try to like wear the certain kind of jewelry. They always want to be, a one-up kind of person, and they always want to be considered the best. And I remember one of my little cousins, and she was getting into this mindset. I think she was maybe 10 or something, and she's like, "Oh, if my mommy gets this Mercedes, we're gonna look rich." Now, they had a little house, but it wasn't nothing fancy. It's in like a suburb and everything. Her daddy just had worked a regular job. Her mama, I don't know what she was doing. I don't know if she even was working at that time. But, having this Mercedes seemed to mean a lot to this child. And so she was already adopted her mother's mindset that, you had to have flashy things, expensive things, and that somehow reflected on you and made you better because of what you drove or what you wore or the kind of, stuff you owned. And in reality, that's the person who is extremely shallow, very materialistic, and has no self-esteem, no confidence in who and what they are. They've constructed this very fragile shell, which, if tapped, would just crack and just leave them feeling like nothing. So when you have a man like that, his shit got to always be, I only wear, this and that, and I got to have these $400 each tires, and I got to have this and I got to have that. And it's like, but you know what? You still the same nigga regardless that lives to live in the projects. I mean, get real with yourself. Stop thinking that what you have makes you a better person. It doesn't. It just makes you have that shit because that shit could be taken, like repossessed, stolen, burnt up in a fire. I mean, then what? Who are you then? People need to get real with this shit. Material shit is nice. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have nice things, but I'm saying is your sense of who you are as a person should never be tied up to things that everybody, that's mass produced. It's just like, what is that? You just like one of 10 million that everybody can get one. That ain't nothing special. So you got all this ego and self-esteem, you think tied up in it. You're messing over your own self. Another thing that insecure men do is they try to rush you into a relationship. Now, I talked about this in another video, but it's from a slightly different angle. But when a guy doesn't feel like he's enough, and he doesn't feel like, if you really got to know him, you would really like him as the person that he really is, he's going to try to put the bum rush on you to, kind of nail things down. And let me tell you about the situation I had with a dude like this. It kind of scared me. I was thinking, shoot, am I going to have to shoot this nigga or what? Okay, so I went out with this dude, right? I can't remember where I met him. And he took me, we went to Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco, and, we had, I think that was my first time having cappuccino, or some, I don't know, there was some kind of coffee drink we had, and it was my first time having it. Because I really wasn't a coffee drinker then. But I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of nice and interesting. I mean, he was well-traveled and knew all kind of stuff. I mean, very interesting guy. But it was something about him that put me on edge. It made me not, he was just a little bit too something. I can't even really put my finger on it, but it just made me kind of like leery. And so, we went out to dinner and we had a nice time and everything. And then I met him for lunch one day at work. I was at work, and he came close by, and I met him for lunch. Okay, so that was 2 dates. The same night that I went to lunch with him, he calls me on the phone, and he says, well, now you can tell all your other niggas that you got a man. I was like, hello, who, what? And he's like, yeah, I know you got other niggas, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now this up until this point, he had seemed like a perfectly normal person. But then he flashed and came out with this, it's like his voice changed, his head whipped around like the Exorcist, and he became a fool. So I'm like, dude, let me explain this to you. Nobody tells me what to fucking do, and nobody tells me what to do, who I'm gonna date. I don't know you. I'm not gonna commit to you. After 2 dates, are you out your mind? And so he's like, well, I don't understand what the problem is. We get along, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, because, I mean, what do you know my middle name? He said, no. I said, do I know yours? He said, no. I said, what's my mama's name? He didn't know. I said, where did I go to school? He didn't know. I said, so see, you don't know me. So what is it that you're trying to do here? But anyway, make a long story short, after I went through I had to do the Deb interrogation method that I always do to show people how stupid they are. I hung up the phone and told him, don't you ever call me no more. And then that was the end of that. But see, that he was putting the pressure on. And a lot of times they do that, like I just referenced in the other video, because they want to get you into bed. And they know a lot of women are like, well, I can only sleep with somebody if we have something serious. If I know it's going somewhere, if it's like my man. So the first, thing they do is try to make themselves get that, position in your life. And I was like, oh, hell no. I don't know you. I'm not going to do that. Another thing that insecure dudes do, and I saw this happen to one of my aunts, she divorced him, but she was trying to go to school and, advance herself, and she wanted to study nursing. And her husband found every reason in the world why she didn't need to go. He make enough money. What about, I don't know, them doctors gonna be trying to get at her, and he had all this stuff. So then when she decided she was gonna go anyway, he started trying to sabotage her. So, like, he would keep her up late at night arguing instead of her, supposed to be studying. He want to pick fights. So, they argue for hours, and then she'd be upset and couldn't study and would be crying and whatnot, and a nervous wreck, and exhausted so that she couldn't go to school the next day. He was trying to make her, flunk out. It was just really a terrible thing to witness. Even though I witnessed it from afar, I did see enough of it. She came over and we go visit over there, and it was really something to see somebody to be that insecure about where they stood with a woman, and to try to sabotage and hurt her like that. It was just really a mess. And so they'll do that kind of thing, and part of it will be like, if you have a dream, you have a vision, something you want to accomplish for yourself, they will find a way to minimalize it, to say, oh, that ain't shit, what is that all about, that ain't nothing, you don't need to be wasting your time doing that shit, blah, blah, blah. And so you start to doubt yourself and question it, and, or they'll tell you that you're too stupid to do it, or you don't have enough money to do it, or just something, whatever they can do to kind of, to get you to see what your dream is in a negative light. And if you don't do that, then they'll become, much more proactive with their attack and try to do something to set you up to fail. So all of that is about getting you under his control. They're so jealous that it's like the thought of you even being around another man is unbelievable. They just can't stand it. Like, they want to put you in a cage, and if you allow it, they will eventually remove all your friends, your associations with your coworkers, your associations even with your own family, your neighbors, your ex-college buddies, everybody. He'll be shut off from everybody so that he becomes the only source of attention, the only source of joy, and the only source of alleged happiness that you're going to get in your entire life. He wants to shut all those doors so that he has you to himself, and then he will finally feel, that he's secure. Another thing they do is, they stalk your social media pages. Now, I have a dude doing this, and I've never met him. He makes video after video after video about me, although saying that at the same time that he can't stand me. It's like he wouldn't have any material if he wasn't making videos about me. Now he's all on my blog talk, listen to my old shows and get material from that to sit up there and make videos to talk about me. This man is positively obsessed with me for some reason. I don't know what it is, but that is something that you see a lot with these very insecure guys. They want to just like shadow you. they want to just be all up in your mix. Like you're on your social media pages, they're liking all your posts and making comments and making sure that everybody knows that you with him. And like any dude that posts anything or a dude who likes something on your page, he gonna grill you about it, and it's just really interesting. I've also seen a situation where, and this was a friend of mine, like we try to get together, just have girls' night. Why did her husband always want to come? And it's like I was there the night that they met, so there was no reason for him to think that I was trying to that I was a man or something. I don't know what he thought, to tell you the truth. I never asked him. But I just thought it was bizarre when, so a couple of women want to get together, then here come your ass. Why you always want to be up in the mix? And it stifled things because we couldn't really talk freely, about woman stuff because I didn't want her husband knowing all my business like that. You know what I mean? I'm just talking about the dudes I've been out with and, whose dick was the biggest and all this kind of stuff. I couldn't talk about that because he was there and I didn't need him knowing all my, about me, that side of me like that. That's my friend's husband. That was like a boundary that I just didn't it was not right to cross it. And so he would stifle our meetings and he kept doing it. And then I finally figured out that he was like this, the stuff. He's a very insecure guy, and with me talking about the way that relationships should be of equality and sharing. I mean, he never gave his wife a gift ever. It's just like it was unbelievable. He was this is the most selfish man I've ever seen in my life, but he just wanted to take from her and not give her anything in return. And, I was pointing that out, and I think she was probably going home, talking about it. And so he wanted to try to run interference by showing up when our meetings, but that didn't do shit because while he was at work all day, we was on the phone. So that didn't matter. And I had a kind of work schedule, doing my freelance stuff. I can duck out in the middle of the day and work all night if I want to. So that really didn't stop anything, but I noticed it happening, and so we had to change our schedule to eliminate his needy, insecure ass from the mix. But I think another thing they do is, it's like you first start dating them, right? Why do they just like never want to fucking go home? Like you make the mistake of inviting him over. It's like you practically need to call the sheriff's deputy to evict the nigga because he don't want to leave. He just sits his ass down, and you just you just ready for him to go. I mean, I dated this guy, and I mean, I really like the dude too, but I have this thing about my space. I need my space. I need my space. He was at my apartment, and like I said, I really liked him. So like we had gone out the night before. We went to a play, we went to dinner, and then he spent the night. Okay, so that was Saturday. So now it's Sunday, and he's still in my house. He's just, all with his boxers on, in a t-shirt and sitting up on the couch with the remote in his hand like he lived there. And he's just watching football and shit and just like chilling. And I had his beer and everything. And I noticed that I started feeling this anxiety. I started pacing. And I was like pacing around my house like a cage. You know how lions do on a cage? I am a Leo. And I was exactly doing that exact thing. I'm just walking through the house. And he's like, babe, why don't you sit down? This and that. I'm like, no, I don't want to sit down. I want you to leave. And I just blurted it out. And he just looked so hurt. I kind of felt bad. Because like I said, I really did like him. But at that moment, I'd had enough of him. I had been with him for like 24, well, going on 36 hours. I was done. That's it. I'm ready for you to go now. And so he, left, and his little head was hanging, and I kind of felt bad, like I said. But once that door closed, honey, I was doing a cabbage patch. So I was like, yes, I have my space back. I just wanted my space. I just wanted to be in my house by myself and breathe all the air all by myself. That's what I wanted to do. So, another thing that these insecure dudes do is they touch you a lot. Did you notice that? They just touch you. It's like you just feel like, a touch machine or something. And they when they especially when they're around where other men are, it's like they're like the dog pissing, marking its territory or something. They're gonna reach out and grab your hand, like and hold it all tight, and just walk around with the room in the room holding your hand. And it's like, can I have my hand, because I might want to use it for something, like get me a drink or something. And then he got your hand, he drag you from one corner here and fro, and then he want to put his arm all around you all tight so you all hugged up against him. Well, men have more body heat to women. That shit is hot. I need some air here. Back up. Let me get some space. And it's just they want to just let all the people in the room know that you with them, especially all the men. That's the main thing. And a lot of them will give you ultimatums. I don't know if you've noticed that part, but um, you know, if you do this and that, then it means you don't love me, and we may as well just break up then. I don't understand what kind of relationship this is. I just fuck it, that kind of thing. So basically, every time they want to manipulate you into doing something, they put the whole relationship on the line. So, and most women will back down because they don't want to put their relationship on the line. I could give less than a fuck. You aren't going to manipulate me. If you want to go up, we go throw up the whole relationship because I'm going somewhere you don't want me to go. Bye. I mean, what you want me to do? I'm still going. That would be your threats don't mean shit. Whether you broke up with me or not, I'm still going. So the only thing that's gonna be different is when I get back, your ass ain't gonna be around. That's gonna be the only thing different. So I don't let them do that shit to me, but that is one of the things they do. Um, Always, putting you in a position where you have to succumb to what it is that they want. Otherwise, in his mind, it means that don't really want the relationship, that you're not loyal to him like you say that you are. Um, and finally, besides all the texting and calling too much stuff, they do that where, to the point where it just interrupts. Because I worked at home, a lot, and it's just, when people feel like if you work at home, that you're not doing anything and that they can just, call you anytime. Okay, I don't really like talking on the phone, and I tell people that a lot. I'll do it, but it's not my favorite thing to do. I don't like talking on the phone. I just have never liked it. So when they would call, right, and then these dudes want to talk to you for hours and hours on end, I'm losing my fucking mind. And so this dude, I had to finally tell him, I'm like, aren't you supposed to be working? What are you doing? How are you calling me all the time? And he's like, well, I just want to hear your voice. I just want this, I want that. I said, but see, I need to be able to make my phone calls, and I, do handle my business and renew contracts and shop out new business and all this stuff. And I can't be on the phone with you all day like this. This is not working for me. I will talk to you once in the morning. I will talk to you once in the evening. But during the daytime, when I'm working, I cannot be on the phone with you anymore. And he got so upset. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you, but that shit don't work. So, when you have these men who are so anxious, they're just so clingy and just so needy for your attention and your time and your energy, you have to really think about that, ladies. What does that mean about him? Because to me, that is the exact opposite of what most women are looking for in a man. I was thinking about this today while I was riding on the commuter train. How women used to go crazy over Captain Kirk. Not necessarily the guy who was, playing him, not the William Shatner, not the real life William Shatner. I'm talking about the character Captain Kirk. Why did everybody think that he was the shit? Because he thought he was the shit. And it wasn't like he was arrogant about it. The man was just supremely confident. He was, he had, pretty decent little body there because he didn't get his pot belly and stuff until later, way after the show. He was capable. He was, in command. He was friendly to people. Very smart, handsome. He was brave. He was decisive. And he was just running things. He was running things, and he did it in a way that showed he was in command, but not in a way that was putting other people down. He didn't need to stand on anyone's head to raise himself up. The man just had his shit together, and he was running things, okay? That is what women admire in men. That confidence and that independent thinking, that strength and the bravery. But when you have a man who is weak and cowardly and needy and clutchy and clingy. It's the exact opposite of what women want. And so these guys get rejected and they want to say, well, that's because, you women all want thugs. You just want thugs. Well, yeah, women want thugs because thugs are like Captain Kirk. You know what I mean? When have you ever seen a thug dude back down from anything? They don't back down. They get in your face. But most of them are, pretty quiet. I mean, they don't go start no shit. But if you start something, they gonna show finish it. And I mean, they run whatever it is they're running. I mean, they have those qualities, and that is what attracts women. And these guys who are always whining, that the women don't want them, that's why they don't want you, because you whine like a fucking 2-year-old. No woman wants a man who whines. And you all online with your face and your name up there and everything, whining it like a little bitch. Don't nobody want no man like that. That's why your ass is single. That's why no woman wants you. That's why you get rejected. So these guys, this might be a hard lesson, and this is, I guess part of this video is for men. I usually don't do so much for men, but I wanted to explain to women what to watch out for and how they, what these guys' real motivation is for bombing you with all them texts and calls and wanting to be all up in your face all the time. You need to back that motherfucker up and tell him you need your space and you need, he can slow down. He don't need to be up under you all the time. And he might like you, but you will get more out of him and have a better relationship if you put some little space there and give yourself time to miss him. And that's what these guys don't get. You got to give a woman space and time to think about you and fantasize about you and to want to see you and to miss you. If you all up in her face all the goddamn time, calling her 24/7, she can't breathe and shit because you all up in her face, then when is she ever going to get a chance to miss you? And anything, she's going to get sick of you. That's called overexposure in the entertainment field. And it's pretty much the same thing in matters of the heart. So this is a good lesson for both men and women on this video. I hope I've explained everything, but if you have some questions, feel free to post them in the comment section below. And, I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. But those are my thoughts on these clingy, insecure, needy ass men just whining like little bitches. Oh my God, I can't take it. So if you ladies run into these kind, understand what time it is, move them on out your way, because they need some couch time. They need, do something to build up their confidence and belief in themselves as men. You can't do that for them. No matter how much you love them, it's like throwing your love in a black hole. It will never, ever, ever be enough. They have some deep wounds from childhood that, they need some therapy for. And no woman can, unless she's got, them letters after her name, FISD or whatever, is qualified to fix a guy like that. He's just broken. All right. Talk to you guys soon. I'll have some videos up this weekend. Bye-bye.